सवरियाना, कोई जाए के बुलाएला सवरियाना, हो सवरियाना, हो सवरियाना, हो सवरियाना, हो सवरियाना, घेरी घेरी आई सावन की बदरियाना, घेरी घेरी आई सावन की बदरियाना, हो बदरियाना, हो बदरियाना, हो बदरियाना, हो बदरियाना, घेरी घेरी आई सावन की बदरियाना। तेरी सखी लागत, हरी सखी लागत, वृंदावननी को एरी सखी लागत, एरी सखी लागत, वृंदावननी को नीको एरी सखी लागत, हरी सखी लागत, वृंदावननी को एरी सखी लागत, घर घर तुलसी ठाकुर पूजा, घर घर तुलसी ठाकुर पूजा, दर्शन गोविंद जी को, दर्शन गोविंद जी को, एरी सखी लागत, हरी सखी लागत, वृंदावननी को एरी सखी लागत, कुंजन कुंजन फिरत राधिका, कुंजन कुंजन फिरत राधिका, शब्द सुने मुरली को, शब्द सुने मुरली को, एरी सखी लागत, हरी सखी लागत, वृंदावननी को एरी सखी लागत, मीरा के प्रभु गिरधर नागर, मीरा के प्रभु गिरधर नागर, भजन बिना नर फीको, भजन बिना नर फीको, एरी सखी लागत, हरी सखी लागत, वृंदावननी को एरी सखी लागत, एरी सखी लागत, वृंदावननी को नीको, हरी सखी लागत, वृंदावननी को नीको, एरी सखी लागत, हरी सखी लागत, वृंदावननी को एरी सखी लागत।
Hari Om. That was such a beautiful, heart-rending rendition. We will now start. Hari Om and a big warm welcome on behalf of Chinmaya Mission Mumbai, Chinmaya Sagar and the festival team. Today's Krishna Janmashtami program is a devotional offering by the Panchsheel Study Group members of Sevika Manju Malkani. We will now start with the invocation.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणि निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरु ब्रह्मविद्वरं वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरु। हरि ओम।
Thank you, Sandhya ji, and thank you, Geeta, for the beautiful invocation. Hari Om, everyone. Krishna Janmashtami greetings and a very warm welcome to all of you. The greatness of our most beloved and revered Lord Krishna has been beautifully depicted by our Gurudev, Swami Chinmaya in his book, Glory of Krishna. I quote a short excerpt. Sri Krishna, the very name sends a thrill of joy through one who has had even a passing glimpse of his greatness. No other master had burst upon the earth at any other period in history with so much of the divine glory expressed at once, at all levels, at all times. The teachings of the Gita in the war front and the preachings to Udhav in the palace reveal his exalted status as a world teacher. Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum. We now start our program, and Jasmine Mistry will take you through the lineup of interesting events that await you now. Over to you, Jasmine.
Thank you, Manju. Happy Janmashtami to all. We gather today to celebrate the divine birth of the Jagatguru, the Supreme Lord, the divine cowherd, the mystical lover, the enchanter of the soul, our beloved Sri Krishna. The Brahma Samhita describes him thus: Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna is the cause of all causes. He is the primal cause, and he is the very form of eternal being, knowledge, and bliss. Tanya and Uma will show us now how the Lord's birthday is celebrated in different places.
Krishna Janmashtami celebrations. जन्मे हैं कृष्ण कन्हाई, गोकुल में देखो बाजे बधाई, बाजे बधाई देखो बाजे बधाई, बाजे बधाई देखो बाजे बधाई। जन्मे हैं कृष्ण कन्हाई, गोकुल में देखो बाजे बधाई। जमुना भी धन्य हुई छूके चरण को, लेके वासुदेव चले प्यारे ललन को। वो दिए कान्हा को ब्रिज पहुंचाए, गोकुल में देखो बाजे बधाई। जन्मे हैं कृष्ण कन्हाई, गोकुल में देखो बाजे बधाई। धन्य हुई ये ब्रिज भूमि सारी, त्रिलोकी नाथ जन्मे कृष्ण मुरारी। ओ सारी नगरी है आज हर्षाई, गोकुल में देखो बाजे बधाई। जन्मे हैं कृष्ण कन्हाई, गोकुल में देखो बाजे बधाई। Lord Krishna was born on the 8th day of Bhadrapad as the 8th son of Devaki and Vasudev. He was the 8th incarnation of Lord Vishnu. The Lord's tryst with 8 represents infinity, the infinite wisdom, infinite love, infinite prosperity, and infinite joy. Ras Khan, a devotee in the 17th century, describes the Leela of Bal Gopal. धूरी भरे अति शोभित श्यामजू, तैसी बनी सिर सुंदर चोटी। खेलत खात फिरे अंगना, पग पैंजनिया कटी पीरी कछौटी। बा छवि को रस खान विलोकत, बारत काम कला निधि कोटी। काग के भाग कहा कहिए हरि, हाथ सुले गए माखन रोटी। Adorned with a beautiful choti, Bal Gopal plays in the courtyard. He is full of dust and his penjanya makes a beautiful sound as he runs around. Ras Khan is mesmerized by the sight. He envies the lucky crow who is able to snatch Makhan Roti from the hands of Hari himself. The birth of Sri Krishna, who is the Lord of protection, compassion, tenderness, love, who is the universal teacher, is celebrated with great enthusiasm and devotion across the country. Let us participate in the various celebrations across the country. In the region of Braj, Janmashtami is celebrated on a grand scale and festivities begin 10 days prior. Mathura, the birthplace of the Lord, celebrates with Jhula Notsav, where Sri Krishna is bathed and anointed and placed in the Jhula, and all the temples and the idols in the city are decorated with the same color scheme. Krishna spent his childhood in Gokul, stealing butter and people's hearts. On Nandotsav, Holi is played there with curd and turmeric. Brindavan is where the Ras Leela between Radha Krishna started. On the occasion of Janmashtami, the entire town comes together and sings songs in the praise of the Lord. In the northeastern state of Manipur, on this day, several Ras Leelas are performed in the Manipuri dance form, which are based on Vaishnava themes. In Assam, Nam Prasangas, that is devotional songs, are sung in praise of the Lord in Nam Ghars. Bengal and Odisha celebrate by offering Chappan Bhog, an elaborate meal of delicacies to the Lord. On Nandotsav, here too, Holi is played with curd and turmeric. The celebrations differ in the south. In Andhra Pradesh, boys dress up as Krishna and visit friends and family. Shlokas are recited and devotional songs are sung, while paintings of the Lord are worshipped. And in Tamil Nadu, beautiful decorative patterns called kolam, made from rice batter, are drawn on the floor along with footprints of Krishna at the entrance of their houses. Maharashtra celebrates Gokul Ashtami, where groups of boys and girls form a pyramid to break the dahi handi hung high up, celebrating the mischievous and playful side of Krishna. In Gujarat also, the birth is celebrated with great eagerness and dedication, starting 10 days prior, and on the day, a holy bath is given to the idol with Panchamrit. Also, an enjoyable Makhan Handi is played, and farmers in Kutch decorate their bullock carts and take out processions of Krishna while singing and dancing. In Himachal Pradesh, Krishna Leelas form a big part of their celebrations. And in Jammu, kite flying is an integral part of Janmashtami. Janmashtami is celebrated with great love and devotion all across the country. आनंद उमंग भयो जय हो नंद लाल की, नंद के आनंद भयो जय कन्हैया लाल की, ब्रिज में आनंद भयो जय यशोदा लाल की, हाथी घोड़ा पाल की जय कन्हैया लाल की.
गोकुल में
That was lovely. Thus we celebrate the birth of the Lord, who came to us in a human form to rid the world of her tyrants. Our Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda's devotion to Lord Krishna and reverence for the Bhagavad Gita is known to all. Let us listen to our study class members as they speak on the shlokas which have inspired them.
Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum. Salutations to Sri Krishna, the universal teacher of the timeless shlokas from the Bhagavad Gita. Sri Krishna is also a living example of his own teachings in the Gita.
न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्य शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, Shloka 20. In this shloka, our body is prone to different changes like birth, growth, decay, disease and death. All this is denied to the self, it is not susceptible to change. The soul is neither born nor does it ever die. The soul is without birth, eternal, immortal and ageless. It is not destroyed when the body dies, it merely discards the worn-out body and moves to a fresh body, just as we discard old clothes for new ones. Another example is of the ocean and the waves. The waves come and go, but the ocean remains. The soul is Sasvata, everlasting. This shloka has taught me to not be attached to the body, BMI, but to grow inwards towards the soul, which is permanent. Jai Shri Krishna.
Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labhau jayay jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam vapsyasi.
Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, Shloka 38. Lord Krishna teaches us a very valuable lesson, telling us how to act wisely. Our actions or the work we do should be done with the right motive and mental attitude. On a physical level, it should be dynamic, done to the best of our ability. On a mental level, we need to be calm and equanimous, dropping the agitations and the anxiety for the result. It should be backed by a clear and a sharp intellect. Such actions don't bind us further. This is called Buddhi Yoga, joining us with our higher self. So, let us do our best and leave the rest. Jai Shri Krishna.
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते संगोस्त्वकर्मणि.
Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, Shloka 47. This is one of the most famous and practical shlokas of the Bhagavad Gita. Our right is to perform our prescribed duties as best as we can. We should not get attached to the fruits, that is, the results of the actions. We should focus on what we are doing and enjoy doing it. The results of our actions is not in our hands and belongs to the future. We should also give up the notion of doership, as we are but the instruments of the Lord. Sometimes, when the task is tough and cumbersome, we give up on that and resort to inaction. So, we should not resort to inaction also. Karm karo, phal ki chinta mat karo. This is something I live by, as it not only gives me peace of mind, but also makes my actions more productive. Jai Shri Krishna.
आपूर्यमाणमचलः प्रतिष्ठं समुद्रमाप प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी.
Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, Shloka 7. Just as the ocean remains undisturbed because of its depth and vastness, and by the continuous flow of water from the river merging into it, likewise, the realized sage is also unmoved despite the flow of desirable objects all around him. His mind never overflows. He is contented, and nothing in the world can tempt him. Today, given the level of uncertainty of how life will look tomorrow, next week, or even in a month, the level of anxiety many of us have had to process has been high. This shloka particularly teaches us how to stay calm, just like the ocean. Jai Sri Krishna.
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः.
Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 3, Shlok 30. This verse gives us the blueprint for a dynamic action and success by following the path of Karma Yoga. Krishna asked Arjuna to surrender and act by dedicating all actions to the higher. While acting, we should be free from the ego, which is dead moments of the past, and free from anxiety for the result, which is the unborn moments of the future. This will conserve our energy to focus single-pointedly in the present. This verse has helped me a lot by the following learnings which I try to apply in my life. Not regretting the past, not having anxiety for the future, no excitement in the present. I continue to act with this attitude under the circumstances that come up in life constantly. We should empty ourselves of blockages from our mind and intellect like a flute with holes and let his music flow through us, ever ready to act as the Lord's willing instrument at all times. Jai Shri Krishna.
Shri Bhagavanuvāca Sannyasa Karma Yogascha Nishriyasakaravubhau Tayostu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate.
Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 5, Shloka 2. Krishna in this shloka tells the seeker that the highest goal of moksha can be achieved by renunciation of ego sannyasa and karma yoga to serve the world with dedicated actions and curb anxiety about the result of action. Arjuna is confused. He wants to know clearly which path to follow. As he is a Kshatriya and needs to exhaust his vasanas, Krishna tells him to follow the path of Karma Yoga. The Lord says this path is superior for Arjuna specifically. The seeker in early days cannot achieve egolessness. Hence, Krishna recommends Karma Yoga. After exhausting one's desire, one can achieve victory over the ego. Thus, this shloka inspires me to perform my everyday actions as a householder in the yajna spirit with dedication to the higher, and it helps me to live my life in the right spirit here and now. Jai Shri Krishna.
Rajastamascha Sattvam Bhavati Bharata Rajasatvam Tamaschaiva Tama Sattvam Rajastatha.
Hari Om. Gita chapter 14, Shloka 10. This shloka explains the three tendencies, the gunas, which controls our thoughts, speech and action. All human beings are a combination of the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas in different proportions. At any point, one guna predominates over the other two. Sattva guna is peace, happiness, equanimity, calmness of mind and knowledge. Rajas is desire, restlessness and agitation of mind and action. Tamas is laziness, ignorance and inertia. Hence, in our day-to-day lives, we need to make a conscious effort to cultivate Sattva Guna so that the effects of Rajas and Tamas gets mitigated. Jai Shri Krishna.
काममाश्रित्य दुष्पूरम् दम्भमानमदान्विताः मोहाद् गृहीत्वा सद्ग्राहान् प्रवर्तन्ते शुचिव्रताः.
Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, sloka 10. Here Lord Krishna is trying to explain reason of bondage of a materialistic person. Given to lust and desires, he uses foul methods to acquire wealth for enjoyment of his senses. He is full of insatiable desire. It is pursuit of pleasure with no faith in anything higher. He has selfish desires, which he wants to fulfill at any cost, even if it is by foul means. All these desires from worldly pursuits are fine in the beginning but are poison later. When his desires are unfulfilled, he directs his anger at the world. He is confused, short-sighted, and ready to adopt any means to achieve his selfish goals. Might is right, so he clings to power and position. He feels isolated from the world. He is harsh and bitter with everyone. To be righteous, one should follow the higher path. Desires should be sattvic. Raise the bar of desires so that lower desires drop and we grow steadily on the spiritual path. Jai Shri Krishna.
Hari Om. Hope this inspires all of us to bring out the teachings of the Gita from its pages and into our lives. Choti choti gaiya, chote chote gwal, choto so nanda gopal. Govinda ala re ala, jara matki sambhal brujbala. Mere to giridhar gopal, dusaro na koi. Our literature and arts are full of the Leelas of Sri Krishna. There are many fascinating, endearing, enchanting sides to Sri Krishna. Let us hear some stories from his life as narrated by Dipti, Jyoti and Neera.
Krishna's Leela. Stories from the life of Sri Krishna. Why is Krishna offered a feast of Chappan Bhog? Chappan Bhog. Chappan is translated to 56 in Devanagari script and Bhog is an offering of food to God. Chappan Bhog is an offering made to Lord Krishna, and this consists of 56 food items which is cooked in earthenware over wooden fire. There is an interesting story behind this. To protect the villagers from the wrath of the rain god Indra, Krishna lifted the Govardhan Parvat on the tip of his little finger till Indra realized his mistake. For 7 days, Krishna did not consume any food and normally he used to eat 8 food items every day. So, at the end of the 7th day, all the villagers cooked 56 food items, that is 7 multiplied by 8, and offered it to Lord Krishna. On Janmashtami day, several Krishna temples and devotees at home cook Chappan Bhog for Lord Krishna, and all the food items consist of sweets, savories and milk items which Krishna used to love eating. So, today being Janmashtami, let us all cook and eat and partake of the Mahaprasad of Chappan Bhog. Jai Shri Krishna.
The story of Krishna and Udhav.
Hari Om. There is one lesser known unsung hero in Krishna's life, Udhav. Udhav and Krishna were inseparable friends since they were 5, to the extent that even his physical appearance was so like that of Krishna's that he was often mistaken for him. Interestingly, the idol of Udhav is used in temples as the Utsav Murti of Krishna. Udhav was a knowledgeable and enlightened minister in Krishna's council. He, however, had developed a sense of ego. Krishna looked upon Udhav as himself, so he chose Udhav to go to Vraja to deliver a message to the gopis to quell Udhav's ego. On meeting the gopis, Udhav saw how steeped in devotion they were, how they pined for the Lord of their hearts. The depth of the gopis' devotion completely dissolved his ego of knowledge. He then delivered the Lord's message that when your mind becomes absorbed in me wholly and single-pointedly, you will attain me forever. Then came the time when the Lord had to return to Vaikuntha. Udhav had always stayed with Krishna throughout his life, devoted to him. Udhav pleaded with him to take him along to his heavenly abode. Bhagwan said to him, "After I depart, do not stay here, because in Kali Yuga everyone will start walking the path of unrighteousness. Renounce and absorb your mind in me. Taking the support of spiritual knowledge, live in this world as a man of wisdom." Now, why was only Udhav chosen to be the sole survivor left behind? Because Krishna felt that Udhav was not less than him in any way. Thus, after his departure, Krishna wanted Udhav to remain on this earth as his representative, to spread the knowledge he had received from Krishna, known as the Udhav Gita. Hari Om.
A touching story of devotion. Hari Om. I'm narrating a beautiful story from Mahabharata and devotional love. Before the start of 18 days of Mahabharata war, Krishna tried his best to persuade and advise Kauravas not to fight with their cousins Pandav and instead peacefully settle their conflict between themselves. After the unsuccessful mission, Krishna visits Vidhu, half-brother to both Pandavas and Kauravas. Upon reaching there, he discovers that Vidhu is not there and is welcomed by his wife Subha. Subha invites him, sits at Krishna's feet and begins to peel and feed him bananas. Krishna eats with joy and relish. In the meanwhile, Vidhu returns and enters the room to welcome and greet Krishna. As he bows to Krishna, Vidhu is shocked and horrified to see a pile of peeled bananas heaped on the floor. Vidhu in amazement asks, "Subha, why are peeled bananas lying on the floor?" It is at that moment Subha and Vidhu realize that in the presence of Lord Krishna, enraptured Subha fed banana peels to the Lord instead of fruit. Krishna noticed it all but kept on eating the peels as they were offered to him with pure heart, with unflinching devotional love.
The beheading of the demon Shishupal. Hari Om. Shishupal was cursed to be born as a Rakshas. He was Krishna's nephew, born with severe deformities. Prophecy had stated that whosoever cured Shishupal of his deformities would also slay him. It so happened that when the infant Shishupal was placed on Krishna's lap, his deformities vanished. Shishupal's mother appealed to Krishna to spare her child's life. Krishna said that he would forgive 99 sins committed by him, but after the 100th insult, his divine disgust would behead Shishupal. Instead of being grateful, Shishupal hated Krishna. His hatred for Krishna grew when Rukmini, on her behest, was carried away by Krishna before she was to be wedded to Shishupal. Years later, after the Pandavas won the Mahabharata, Yudhishthira undertook the Rajasuya Yagna. Shishupal attended the grand ceremony at Indraprastha. The Pandavas decided that Krishna be the special honored guest at the sacrificial ceremony. This angered Shishupal greatly. He called Krishna a liar, a thief, a poor cowherd boy, and on he went, hurling insult after insult. Krishna remained seated and quiet. He was only counting. After the 99th insult, Shishupal, seeing Krishna calm, his audacity increased. He thought that the Lord was afraid of him. However, when he heard one more insult and committed his 100th offense, Bhagwan sent his Sudarshan Chakra at him. The disgust sped straight to Shishupal and beheaded him. At that moment, while everyone was watching, a light emerged from Shishupal's body and entered into Krishna's form. Shishupal attained moksha in the hands of the Lord. Hari Om.
It was indeed interesting to know about some of the important events and relationships in Sri Krishna's life. The reward of a life lived in the service of the Lord is to receive the darshan of the Lord, which he gives of himself. And once glimpsed, there is no going back to the mundaneness of an ordinary life. Tanya and Uma will now show us how devotees worship the glory of the Lord in different parts of India.
Evocative Darshans of Sri Krishna. Mind captivating Kanha, I make just one request. All day and night, my eyes are constantly watching the path. Give me your darshan right now, O Kunj Bihari. My mind is restless and impatient. So said Mirabai, one of the greatest devotees of the Lord. The Kesavadeo temple is built at the very place Sri Krishna was born in Mathura. The temple is said to have been constructed by Bajranath, the great-grandson of Sri Krishna. Even the original idol of the temple has been established by him. The Bhagavihari temple in Brindavan was built in 1862 in a contemporary Rajasthani style. Legend has it that this black, charming idol of Bihariji was granted to Swami Haridas by the celestial couple themselves, Shyama Sham. The idol is of Radhe Shyam merged into one divine presence. Srijaganath temple in Puri is one of the Char Dhams and was completed in the 11th century. Lord Jagannath is black, he is all-pervading. His older brother Balabhadra is white, the pure indeterminate spirit, and sister Subhadra is yellow, symbol of all living things. Sri Krishna Math, Udupi, was set up in the 13th century by Jagatguru Madhavacharya, founder of the Dvaita school of Vedanta. Udupi is considered the final resting place of Sri Krishna. Legend has it that Kanakadas, a devotee, was denied entrance into the temple. He stood outside praying with determination. The Lord, impressed with his devotion, turned to face Kanakadas. A hole was created in the wall for him to get a glimpse of Sri Krishna. This spot is now known as Kanaka Kanaka Kindi, and the idol is facing backwards and not front. So devotees have to look through a mirror to worship Lord Krishna in this temple. The Sri Krishna Mandir in Guruvayur is dedicated to the Lord Guruvayurappan. This temple is often referred to as Bhuloka Vaikunt, the holy abode of Vishnu on earth. The deity is of Lord Vishnu with 4 arms carrying the conch, Panchajanya, the discus, Sudarshan Chakra, the mace, Kaumodaki, and a lotus with a Tulsi Mala. The deity represents the majestic form of Lord Vishnu as revealed to Sri Krishna's parents Vasudeva and Devaki around the time of Krishna's birth. The Parthasarathi temple in Chennai was built in the 6th century. It is among the 108 Divya Desams dedicated to Lord Vishnu. Parthasarathi means the charioteer of Arjun. Here, Sri Krishna is depicted with a prominent moustache and carries a conch in his hand. In the sanctum, Krishna is seen standing with his consort Rukmini, brother Balram, son Pradyumna, grandson Anirudh, and Satyaki. The Sri Vitthal Rukmini temple in Pandharpur was originally built in the 12th century. The Lord here is known as Vithoba, Panduranga, Vitthal, Pandharinath, Hari, and Narayan. Vithoba is depicted as a dark young boy standing on a brick with arms akimbo, sometimes accompanied by his consort Rukmini. The Varkari poet saints here are known for their unique genre of devotional lyric, the Abhang, dedicated to Vithoba. The Dwarkadeesh Temple in Dwarka, Gujarat, is also known as the Jagat Mandir or Trilok Sundar. It is estimated to be 2000 years old, built by Vajranabh, the great-grandson of Sri Krishna. Lord Krishna is worshipped in the form of Dwarkadeesh here, which literally means King of Dwarka. The idol is known as Trivikrama, form of Vishnu, and is depicted with 4 arms. Mirabai, the devotee of the Lord Krishna, is said to have merged with his idol at this temple, after which she was never seen again. The Srinathji temple in Nathdwara was built in 1672. The temple was designed like the Nand Maharaj temple in Brindavan. It is also known as Nand Bhavan or Nandalaya. According to Pushti Magh literature, in Vikram Samvat 1549, Srinathji appeared to Sri Vallabhacharya and directed him to Govardhan hills. The deity is of a 7-year-old Lord Krishna, according to the legend, is self-manifested from stone and emerged from the Govardhan hills. The image of Srinathji represents Krishna as child god, with his left hand raised above his head in act of holding Mount Govardhan.
Jai Shri Krishna. Wow, that was a wonderful yatra, enabling us to have a darshan of the Lord in all his forms. One of the ways to steady and becalm the mind is to chant the names of the Lord. To chant the Lord's name is to enchant and be enchanted, delighted in the Mahima of the Lord. There are 108 names of the Lord, but due to time constraints, we will chant 27 of them along with Mrs. Kajal Chopra today.
Shri Krishna Ashtotar Shatanamavali. Om Krishnaya Namaha. Om Kamalnathaya Namaha. Om Vasudevaya Namaha. Om Sanatanaya Namaha. Om Vasudevatmajaya Namaha. Om Punyaya Namaha. Om Leela Manush Vigrahaya Namaha. Om Shri Vatsa Kaustubhadharaya Namaha. Om Yashodavatsalaye Namaha. Om Hariye Namaha. Om Chaturbhujat Chakra Sigda Namaha. Om Shankham Bhuja Yada Bhujaye Namaha. Om Devaki Nandanaye Namaha. Om Shri Shai Namaha. Om Nanda Gopa Priyatmajaye Namaha. Om Yamuna Vega Samharane Namaha. Om Balbhadra Priyanujaye Namaha. Om Putana Jivitharaye Namaha. Om Shaktasur Bhanjanaye Namaha. Om Nanda Vraja Jananandine Namaha. Om Sachidananda Vigrahaye Namaha. Om Navnita Viliptangaye Namaha. Om Navnita Natanaye Namaha. Om Muchukunda Prasadkaye Namaha. Om Shodashastri Sahstrashaye Namaha. Om Tribhangine Namaha. Om Madurakritye Namaha.
Om Shri Krishnaya Namaha. That was really wonderful. In Kali Yuga, chanting is considered to be the best sadhana to remember the Lord. Sri Krishna is the avatar, the reincarnation of Lord Vishnu. Every object connected with him has a very significant meaning. Uma will tell us about a few of these symbolic objects.
The significance of Lord Krishna's adornments. We all have seen many pictures of Lord Krishna, and in each of them he is shown adorning different ornaments. The shankh or the conch, stands for the 5 elements and eternity. These elements are earth, air, fire, water, and ether. Lord Vishnu issued the Omkara or the primordial sound Om through his conch. Sudarshan Chakra. It means a wheel. It is also the symbol of the mind. It was made by Lord Shiva and gifted to Lord Vishnu as a token of his love. The story of Lord Vishnu's most excellent devotion to Lord Shiva is relayed in a story where Lord Vishnu offered 1,000 lotuses to Lord Shiva every day. One day, in order to test the sincerity of Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva hid one of the lotuses. When Lord Vishnu discovered he was one lotus short, in order to complete his vrata, he plucked one of his eyes out and offered it to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva became highly pleased and gifted the Sudarshan Chakra to Lord Vishnu. Gada or the mace. The Gada, a symbol of strength, was a common weapon for hand-to-hand combat and was regarded as the strongest of weapons. Therefore, a known symbol for the strength of Lord Vishnu. Kamal or the lotus. The lotus is a symbol of creation. Lord Vishnu is also named as Padmanabh due to the lotus Padma, which springs from the navel. The lotus in Lord Vishnu's hand symbolizes that he can endow the highest spiritual experience from the path of yoga. Murli or the flute. It symbolizes divine music. It is a call from the Lord inviting every creature to his abode. The flute also symbolizes a human heart which is made hollow, which means free from worldly thoughts. Only such a heart qualifies to become a flute for the God of love to play upon. When the heart is not empty, which means it is occupied with thoughts pertaining to worldly pains and pleasures, there is no scope for divine love.
Adharam madhuram vadanam madhuram nayanam madhuram hasitam madhuram hridayam madhuram gamanam madhuram madhuradipate akhilam madhuram vachanam madhuram charitam madhuram vasanam madhuram valitam madhuram chalitam madhuram pramitam madhuram madhuradipate akhilam madhuram.
On this Madhura note, we come to the end, and I'm sure that knowing about the deeper meaning of the objects associated with Lord Krishna has opened up a new dimension of understanding for all of us. Please join us now for the Aarti performed by Sandhya-ji and Jyoti.
जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे भक्त जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे ओम जय जगदीश हरे जो ध्यावे फल पावे दुख बिन से मन का सुख संपत्ति घर आवे कष्ट मिटे तन का ओम जय जगदीश हरे मात पिता तुम मेरे शरण परूं मैं जिसकी तुम बिन और न दूजा आस करूं मैं जिसकी ओम जय जगदीश हरे तुम पूर्ण परमात्मा तुम अंतर्यामी, पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर तुम सबके स्वामी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तुम करुणा के सागर तुम पालन करता, मैं सेवक तुम स्वामी कृपा करो भरता। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तुम हो एक अगोचर सबके प्राणपति, किस विध मिलूं दया मैं तुमको मैं सुमति। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। दीन बंधु दुख हरता तुम रक्षक मेरे, करुणा हस्त बढ़ाओ शरण पड़ी मैं तेरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। विषय विकार मिटाओ पाप हरो देवा, श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ संतन की सेवा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तन मन धन सब कुछ है तेरा, स्वामी सब कुछ है तेरा, तेरा तुझको अर्पण क्या लागे मेरा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की, दिव्य रूप मूर्ति करुणा की। आरती सद्गुरु की, चरणों में उनके शांति समाए, शरणागत की भ्रांति मिटाए। पाप ताप संताप हरण की, आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की। आरती सद्गुरु की। वेद उपनिषद गीता को गाया, धर्म सनातन फिर से जगाया। शुद्ध नीति प्रीति शंकर की, आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की। आरती सद्गुरु की। सिद्ध बाड़ी के तपोभूमि में, नित्य विराजे गुरु हमारे। भक्त हृदयानंद श्रोत की, आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की। आरती सद्गुरु की। बोलो श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
You can take the Aarti from far.
Hari Om. Thank you. Finally, it is my pleasant duty to offer sincere thanks on behalf of our Sevika, Mrs. Manju Malkani, and all the members of our study group, to everyone who has contributed to make this program possible. Firstly, our thanks to Sandhya ji and Alka ji for the beautiful Aarti and Bhajan, and Mrs. Kajal Chopra for her beautiful chanting. A special thanks to Shri Jai Kishan Hingu, an MA student in Basuri, and to Shri Dipin Das Tabla MA student, both from Chinmaya Nada Gurukula, and to Srimati Pramodini Rao, Director, Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth, for allowing us to use their recording for our celebrations. The Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth offers a 2-year master's degree program in Hindustani vocal, Basuri and Tabla in a Gurukul environment at Chinmaya Vibhuti, Cole 1. A big thank you to Amrita Sharma and Shruti Shetty for their technical assistance. Our thanks to all of you who have taken the time to attend the program. And most importantly, our gratitude to Gurudev Swami Chinmaya ji, whose inspiration and blessings enabled us to follow and progress on this path of bhakti, jnana, and karma. I would like to make a few announcements. The Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth. I would like to introduce the Vishwa Vidyapeeth crowdfunding initiative, the brochure of which you can see on the screen, to help build a state-of-art Chinmaya University campus. For those who would like to give Guru Dakshina, please refer to the PayU link given in the chat box. And now it's photograph time. I request everyone to put on their video cameras for a group photograph.
Just 1 second, I'll just get the thing organized.
Sure.
The gallery.
We love to have ourselves photographed. Take your time.
All ready?
All ready.
Hari.
Oh.
Got it. One more. Hari. Oh, got it. Done.
All done?
Yes.
Thank you. We will end today's program with prayers by Gita ji.
ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम